Hi, this is Jack Brewing, a member of the University of Cincinnati's SEAMS resource team. Welcome to the tutorial on how to create your unit files, which include the unit plan, at least 2 lessons per unit, and at least 2 activities per lesson. A time-saving tool has been developed, the unit file generator, and will be demonstrated during this tutorial. This is part 1 of a 3-part series on the file generation process. The intent is for you to view any or all of these tutorials as it suits your needs. In this tutorial, we will explore the file naming standard to use when you create your unit files. There are 3 tutorials. They have been divided up to allow you to watch shorter segments multiple times if needed. In part 1, we will discuss the file naming standard and why it is important. Part 2 covers the generation of your initial unit files. Part 3 covers the revision to your list of unit files in the event that you must insert or remove unit documents. There are several reasons for creating a file naming standard. The primary reason was to organize the way your files will appear on your wiki. Since files are arranged in alphabetical order when placed on the wiki, it was necessary to create a naming standard that placed the files in an organized rather than a random order. The naming standard takes advantage of the normal alphabetization that occurs by the wiki. It maintains a hierarchical relationship between your documents, which ultimately helps collaborators such as your coaches and fellow teachers follow the flow and find specific documents in relatively short order. If you consider how many people touch your files, it is important that the process be efficient and easy to understand. For example, once you generate your unit documents, your coaches will review them along with some of the SEAMS administrators, the UC webmaster, and hopefully even other teachers who would like to implement your unit in their classroom. If you consider that you will be generating 5 units over the course of your 2-year involvement in the SEAMS program, you're likely to generate over 50 documents. Typically, there are nearly 40 teachers at any time in the program, meaning that over 2,000 documents will need to be stored and organized. Keeping these documents organized is therefore extremely important. Our ultimate goal is to make sure that every file can be easily located. Let's go a step further and demonstrate the power of using a naming standard. On the left-hand side of the slide, you will see the hypothetical names of 7 files which are arranged in alphabetical order. Unfortunately, the alphabetic order these files are organized in does not represent the preferred file hierarchy. That is, we would like to have the unit plan at the top of the list of files, followed by Lesson 1 and the Lesson 1 activities. Then it would be appropriate to list Lesson 2 and Lesson 2 activities. If you look at the column on the right, we have organized the files in the right order using a numerical naming scheme that forces the files to flow from the unit plan at the top, then to the lessons, and then the activities. The red arrows will help you see the differences between the original file organization and the new order created using the file naming standard. We'll explain this naming scheme a bit more on the next 3 slides. The red bar in the center of the slide shows a typical file name for a worksheet file. This example was chosen since it illustrates all of the information that is likely to be included in the file name. Notice there is a number punctuated with periods located at the beginning of the file name. This punctuated number is the key to maintaining files in the correct alphabetical and hierarchical order. Let's walk through each of these file name descriptors one at a time. The unit number, in this case, is a 3, since it was the 3rd unit the teacher developed. The next number, a 1, represents the lesson number. The activity number is 02, and the worksheet letter is the letter A. We use a 02 for the activity to maintain the correct alphabetic order when more than 9 activity documents are included. We use letters for the worksheet starting with the letter A. If you develop more than 26 worksheets, your 27th worksheet would be AA. Hopefully none of you torture your students with that many worksheets. Moving along, there's an abbreviated descriptor that identifies what is in the file. In this case, the worksheet is related to projectile motion simulation. It has been abbreviated so the file name doesn't get too long. The unit title is next in the file name and is included in every document file name to ensure that files can be readily associated with a particular unit. The author's name and the date the unit was created conclude the file name. So let's recap. The unit number is the first number in the file name and will typically range from 1 to 5 since you will be required to complete 5 units during the 2-year program. The lesson number, 1 in this case, will range from 1 to the total number of lessons in the unit. The activity numbers are 2-digit numbers, and for those numbers that are less than 10, a leading 0 is added to maintain the correct alphabetic order. It is important to note here that you do not restart the activity numbers from one lesson to the next, but rather the activities are numbered from 1 to the total number of activities per unit. Worksheets are lettered from A to Z. If you develop more than 26 worksheets, the 27th worksheet will be labeled AA, then AB, and so on. So you might be wondering, what does this look like with a real set of files? Here is an example. The files are arranged in alphabetic order. More importantly, they are arranged with the unit plan at the top, followed by lessons 1 through 3. The poster template is located at the bottom. Within each lesson, there are multiple activity and worksheet files. The activity files can be identified by the 2-digit number with a leading 0. The worksheet files can be identified easily because they contain a letter in the name. In this case, there are 2 worksheets, including 3.2.03a and 3.2.04b. This concludes part 1 of this tutorial. In summary, it is important to remember that files in any wiki will be easier to find due to the standard file naming structure that was used. By listing files in a hierarchical order with the unit plan at the top and succeeded by lessons, activities, and worksheets, the ability to find any document is improved. Though using this standard may initially be more difficult, it will ultimately benefit you and your stakeholders, including your coaches, SEAMS administrators, the UC webmaster, and teachers who would like to take advantage of your work. You're now ready for part 2 of this tutorial, which will describe how to generate the initial files for your unit using the naming standard described here.